It's when you graduate and leave home, you actually see burdens of responsibility falling on you. One of the things that you would quickly come to realize as a fresh graduate, especially in this country, is how hard life can be. If you are not coming from a rich family or a family of opportunities, one of the things that makes life very hard is it's true, I studied software engineering. However, since I graduated, I've never intended to practice software engineering. For the average graduate these days, they would never be able to find a job, and it's quickly going to dawn on you that you have to sit up and make something out of your life. It's not really easy, and I'm not from a rich family. However, one thing that has helped me personally is the fact that I started seeing new possibilities, and I would say it has really been one of the best things that happened to me so far. The average person is out there trying to follow money, on share l'argent, we define money, right? I think one of the best ways to live life is to one of the things that you would quickly come to realize as a fresh graduate is how hard life can be. If you are not coming from a rich family or a family of opportunities, especially in this country. I got into university in 2017 and I studied computer and software engineering, and I got done. It was a 4 years program. I got done in 2021, and it's when you graduate and leave home, you actually see burdens of responsibility falling on you. And I had experienced this. I would say I'm not from a rich family, neither am I from a poor family. But then when you're from a middle class family and the kind of person like me who doesn't like being a burden to others, it's really going to dawn on you that you have to sit up and make something out of your life. Yeah, for the average graduate these days, they would never be able to find a job because what they learned in school is not what they really need. These employers really need you to do in the companies. And even aside that as well, most times your relationships are important as well to be able to get some of these jobs. Yeah, so back to what I was saying, life can be very hard, and one of the things that makes life very hard is responsibility. You know, when you are living with your parents, when you live with your parents or when you live with guardians, there are a lot of responsibilities that they cover, and as a child you would hardly get to feel the weight of these things. For example, housing, feeding, right? Utility bills, and all of this basic stuff that your guardian or your parents get to cover for you. Yeah. But when you leave home and when you're done with school, you get to feel the weight of these responsibilities. You have to sort out your house rent if you're living alone, and you have to sort out all of these many bills. Yeah, it's not really easy. However, one thing that has helped me personally is the fact that I've always had a dream. I've always had a direction and a path in which I'm following through in life. And it's true, economic resources, money has a way of making life easy for the average person. Yeah, and the average person is out there trying to follow money, on share l'argent. We define money, right? I think one of the best ways to live life is to have a vision and live life running towards the fulfillment of that vision. And what happens is that, as Pastor Sam Ademi says, your vision is what is going to open or make room for provision. You want to build something and you need resources to build that thing. That thing you want to build is what's going to open doors for you to have the resources you need, financial resources, the people you need to build that thing, and all of that. So why in the universities, I've always wanted to leave the house. Always wanted to leave the house. In fact, when I got done with my advanced level, I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave the house, this and this and that, this and this and that. My parents would always just laugh and be like, leave the house going to where? you will be schooling in the University of Boya, and there is a family house in Boya. So which one is you want to go and rent the house? And at the end of the day, I stayed in the family house and I did my 4 years program of university. And one thing that happened to me is that I got exposed to relevant material pretty early enough. I got to learn about the principle of exposure. You know, most times when you're in your local environment, you don't really know what's happening outside there. And that lack of exposure has the way it affects your mentality. It has the way it affects your push in life. It has the way it affects your drive. But I got exposed to listening to messages on YouTube from people like Sam Adeyemi, from people like Apostle Selman, as early then as 2017, 2018. Yeah, when I just got into university. And other material from other people. And these things, what these things did is that they started working on my mind. I started seeing new possibilities, not because I am from a family or I'm from a background that is in those opportunities, but then because the people who were talking in this particular, the people I was listening to basically were taking my mind to what they're already experiencing. And this mental shift really, really helped me. One of the books that really triggered me to move out and build something with my life is the book Mastery by Robert Greene. I read that book when I was done with school in 2022. I got done in 2021, and the whole of 2022 was a year where I was just at home saving up to finally move out of the house. And that book mentioned one thing that really stuck with me: become an apprentice of that thing which you want to become an expert at. Because the book is all about becoming an expert at something and how to become an expert, how experts operate, and things like that. Getting into what you want to do ruthlessly, whether you're a beginner or not, and going through the path of apprenticeship till you finally get to learn and become that which you want to become an expert in. And that's the book that motivated me to do what I needed to do to leave the house and just to go to a new town. I decided to leave from Boya and move to Douala. And that happened in January of 2023 when I finally left the house. And since when I left the house and went to Douala, it's not like I had a job that was waiting for me in Douala. No, there was no job waiting for me in Douala. I basically went there with the idea of, okay, it's true, I studied software engineering. However, since I graduated, I've never intended to practice software engineering. Even when I was in the university, the thing that I've always been passionate about is movie production, photography, just basically anything that has to do with the camera. Yeah. And so in university, I used to do some little things back then. So when I got done with school and I knew that I'm not going to practice the software engineering that I've studied, I knew. So I decided to move out of town, and the whole idea of moving out of town was to get into the field of design and media production in a professional way. And when I left town, when I got out to Douala, I got a house, and life started there. I now was able to feel, or I started feeling the weight of responsibility, rents, sorting out utility bills, taking full action, full responsibility for my life. And I would say it has really been one of the best things that happened to me so far. Yeah. And from there, I've been able to grow. I've learned a lot of things. I've learned how manipulative people can be. And about how manipulative people can be, one of the core attributes that make me who I am, and I really like it, is the fact that I really like to say it. I really like saying it. I'm a very stubborn person and hard to manipulate. I will not do something just because somebody wants me to do that thing. I will not do something because of what people think of me. I will do something because I've decided to do it. So if you want me to do something, talk me into doing the thing. Give me reasons why I should do it. I'll not do something because I'm afraid of what this person will do to me and all of that. Yeah, so most people see this as being proud, not being submissive to authority. But I don't really care, right? And that's really helped me as I navigate through life, where people would never have the opportunity to manipulate me to doing things that I would not want to do. And also when I see something that's not really okay, I speak up. I've worked somewhere where most of the employees that are just like, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. Even when they know things are wrong, but they would hardly ever point out that this thing is not okay. And I've always been like kind of the rebel, even though that's not rebellion. Anyway, story for another day. Yeah, so I'm still on that journey to achieving the things I want to achieve in life. I want to tell stories. And I have some stories in the pipeline, educative stories, entertaining stories, and all of that, challenge videos as well. Yeah, and just getting to reflect on these things, I've actually been able to really appreciate God for where I am at now, because most of the things I have now, the level at which I am at now, were just mere prayer points and dreams back then when I just left home. There are so many experiences I'll be sharing. So many fun things that happen. Sometimes things do not go well, but then life has its way of pushing you to a corner. Yeah. So the point of this video is just the idea of having a direction in life. And if you intend to build a software engineering company, for example, that's a good enough direction. And now you're living your life based on that direction. So the things you choose to do daily is affected by that thing you have planned for the future. That means studying software engineering is a good idea, right? Taking certain courses is a good idea. Attending tech meetups and stuff like that is a good idea, because these things are directly in line with the vision or the plans or what you see for the future. Yeah. Taking a particular part-time job to build a certain skill, software skill, would also be good for that vision. Another thing that will not really add to what you're looking for to the future will become a distraction. And living life that way has really, really been a plus for me. And I really appreciate God for that. Yeah. Anyways, I think we keep on trusting God for the full accomplishment of those things we have planned out for our lives. And one of the things I want to live my life for is to impact lives through storytelling. That's it. To impact lives, to change the mentality of others, to shift cultures through telling stories. Yeah. So that's it.